You're now tuning in to the Ambitious Views podcast, where we share unique perspectives on storytelling within film and television from the past, present, and future. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ambitious Views podcast. It has been a while
Oh
since we,
wow.
a long time
Yeah.
almost,
But we back. We back.
We back. What they say, like four flats on the Cadillac. We back.
Yeah.
We are back, y'all. Thank you for tuning in again to another episode. For this episode, we're gonna be jumping in to Ironheart, the MCU original series on Disney Plus that recently came out. For the past 2 weeks, they've dropped 3 episodes each, and so we just finished up with that recently. Of course, you probably have seen a lot of what I want to say, a lot of takes on TikTok and social media and everything like that. So we're going to give you the podcast take, our POV. It's very fresh, so it's going to be a more of a raw take on things. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to have a pretty good time. So, but before we get in all to that, Blaze, how are you doing?
You know what? I am good. I am
Mm-hmm.
good. It's less than a month until I graduate, so happy to finally be done with school.
Woo, woo.
Woo woo. Work has been good. I went on a mini work trip because when I say mini, we was there for a day and a half.
Oh,
But it went well. And then just personal life, everything is good. How about you, Corgan? How are you? Are they still
I
overworking
um um
you?
Yeah. So anyway,
They still working you.
yeah, I'm still working very hard at my
Mhm.
job and all
Just
that.
showing all
Yeah.
your passion.
All my
Yeah.
passion for my students because it's all for the students, and that's
Oh,
real.
okay.
And that is real. I actually kind of miss them. I've been running into some of them during new student orientations and stuff, and some have
Nice.
been saying like, "Oh, I'm ready to come back" and everything. Like this past freshman class was it's my favorite, great, high energy. This next upcoming class is getting ready to graduate. They got a place in my heart too because
Oh,
they held down, you know. So, but just definitely, just hustling.
nice.
So
Well,
yeah.
I'm happy that they have a special place because believe me, if they have a special place in your heart, you have a special place in their heart.
Oh, oh.
I mean,
Hey, I ain't gonna.
just based off my experience with that being in that program, like I
Yeah.
still talk, like a lot of my close friends are because of that program. But the people that were my mentors in it or the people that were over it, like I still talk to them from time to time, keep up with them. The people that I met because of that program, I'm
Mhm.
still in contact with them. So if you got a special place in their heart too.
It is now time, before we get into our watch list, to get into what is this. Now, it's been a while, so I'm going to remind y'all what is this is the newer game that we play where we name three person, places, or things.
I don't like how you put emphasis on those things.
What you talking?
I feel like you're trying to tell me something.
What you talking? No, I'm just making sure they hear me clearly. They may be driving, hit a bump. They may be in
Uh,
the country,
okay,
who knows?
okay. I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure.
So yeah, so person, place, a thing, and it has to be of the same TV show or movie.
I
You
swear, like the rules change each time.
nodded your head the last time in
Did
agreement.
that was
You
a
just
long time
you just
ago.
done
That was
slept a
back in
little bit.
April.
Yeah, it was. You just done slept a little bit, that's all. But
That's
that's why we say it for the audience to get it and for us to stay within the rules of the game. All right. And I
hmm
would just let y'all know on a little hint. We're gonna get soon, y'all. We're gonna have a third host coming
hmm
in. All right. And so this third host may actually serve as the one to make sure that we're staying on task. Cause
Oh wow.
because sometimes sometimes, folks just claim that I'm just switching up stuff. So it's gonna be out of
I
my
mean,
my hands after a while. So yeah.
okay, well, I need to write down the rules. Let me go back and listen to some episodes and make sure I'm gonna write down the rules each time for like
Uh-huh.
the last 5 or 6 episodes.
Uh-huh.
I just want to
Uh-huh.
make sure I get it, you know?
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. All right. Well, yeah. So this week is, or this for this episode is my turn. All right. So we're gonna get into it, and this time, Blaze, I'm gonna take it easy on you. Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the chance. Do you want it easy or you want it medium?
We can go medium.
Medium. Okay. All right. So it's gonna be three people, and I'm gonna
Oh,
give you their government names
oh,
according to
Lord. What are you doing
IMDb.
these people?
Yes, to the people. People. All right. First person is, and I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. If this person ever hears this, my bad if I did it wrong, my brother. So, Lyric Bent,
Larry
okay?
Beats.
Bent, Bent. DeWanda Wise,
Okay, I know who she is.
and Fat Joe.
This is a movie?
It's a TV show.
A TV show?
Yep.
Is it what's the name of that show? It was on Netflix, right?
Maybe.
What was the name of the show? I know the character's name that I'm thinking of.
Okay. I definitely was hoping that you had seen this. Actually, I mean, movie TV show, that's a given. So I will say yes. The hint is that it is on Netflix.
Okay, like I know her character's name was Nora Darling. What was the name of the show though?
Do, 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 do.
Oh, she's gotta have it.
Ring a ding ding. You got
Hey.
it. You
Hey.
got it. Look at you.
I mean, I
Okay.
got it with the second name.
Yeah. 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 I figured it would be easy once I had said her anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I picked that, y'all, is because Anthony Ramos is
Mm-hmm.
actually in this. He plays Mars. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, he is Parker in Ironheart.
Ironheart.
So yeah, good job, Blaze. You got it. I don't know if that's your first point or second point. Is that your first point?
That's like my second point. I'll be honest. It was like my
I'm
second
gonna have to
point.
go back and listen. So I don't know about that.
You do that.
But anyway, what is on your watch list, sister?
So I'm sure I've probably watched a lot of things since the last time we talked, but honestly, I don't remember
Mhm.
everything I've watched. So
And that's
I'll just
okay.
talk about the few things that I remember.
Yeah.
I'll first start off with things I watched on Netflix.
Okay.
I watched a few documentaries like the Titan, the Ocean Gate documentary that they finally did. And I've heard that there's also one, I think, on Max.
Hmm.
And they have very different um takes or
Mm,
like ways that they share that information. The
mhm,
Netflix one to me seemed like it focused more on like the engineering aspect of it and
mhm.
how like from the very beginning that was at fault. And so it should have never gotten to the point that it did, but it's a
Uh,
really good documentary. And it just makes you think like, you know, people who have money really just be doing whatever. And
whatever they
people
want.
let them.
Yeah.
And people let them. But I
Mm,
recommend it and I'm gonna check out the Max one to see like what's the vibe of that one.
okay.
Another documentary that I watched, the name is hilarious, but I've noticed that Netflix has been doing some new documentaries called Trainwreck and then whatever the
Hmm.
title is. And there's a few other ones that I want to watch, but the first one that I watched was called Poop Cruise, which was about
Hmm.
a Carnival cruise ship back in 2013 where like they lost power and they were stuck in the middle of the ocean for a couple of days. And because they lost power, the toilets no longer worked. And
Hmm.
so they had just left Mexico. If you've ever eaten Mexican food before, you know,
Sometimes
so
it get a little spicy.
yeah, yeah. The documentary is hilarious and I mean it kind of reminded me of like Titan, the Titan submarine as well. But I recommend that one. It's like 55 minutes, so it's a quick
Okay.
watch. Um, but some of the other ones, like there's one on World, the concert
Mm.
that
Um, 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 Travis,
Travis something.
I think Travis
Travis
Scott.
Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah. That his concert that he did. I want to say that one is maybe a couple of episodes. There's another one, I can't remember the name of it, but like the trailer was like this journalist opens it up and she's like, I got sent the video of the mayor doing crack. And I was like, oh, let me add this to the
oh,
watch list because why is the mayor doing crack?
wow.
But they have a few other ones I want to check out.
Mm.
Um, have you seen these?
I have not. Now, Poop Cruise is definitely on my watch list. The Ocean Gate one, I wasn't sure if I was gonna jump into that one or not. And yeah, I was gonna jump. I didn't know if I was gonna jump into that one or not. Just because, kind of like what you said, it's like people just be really doing things,
Yeah.
and it's very unfortunate that money gets you as far as they get you without some type of restrictions. But
Hmm.
that's how this country works in the world sometimes too. So,
That's
but
true.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, Another show I watched on Netflix is a documentary style. They did a second season of America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders, which honestly I was surprised that they did a second season because if you see
yeah,
the first season, you can tell that like they definitely shine light on, or not shine light, but they put a spotlight on some of the things that like if I was working for that company, I wouldn't want a light to be on.
yeah, yeah.
But you could what I liked about how the second season started was you could tell they started filming this second season at the same time that the first season was released. And so
Hmm.
you watch this second season and you can tell how they actively are trying to make changes
Hmm.
throughout the season that people that cause controversy during the first season.
Okay. Wow.
So I found that to be like an interesting aspect in terms of like the organization itself, them trying to work to like, okay, we have this opportunity to do this reality show, but
Mhm.
it also kind of made us look bad. How can we turn it and make us look good?
That's interesting, and I wonder what's the because I watched majority, I think, of the first season.
Hmm.
But that is an interesting take on that, and I'm curious about the relationship of the production company and whoever came up with the concept with the organization. Because the thing that I appreciated about the Vince McMahon docu-series, you can definitely tell that they were there to tell a story, but the moment
Hmm.
that it shifted, which I think is very important for any documentary storyteller, is to separate yourself and your bias from the subject or the content or where the case may be. So it's pretty
Hmm.
interesting that you felt that you saw that like, during that experience. So
And then also on Netflix, they had season 2 of Survival of the Thickest, which I want to say it got renewed for another season, but that other season will be its final season, I
okay.
think. And then I watched the most cute. Such a cute show. It's called Forever. Starring
Mm,
Lovey. What's her last name? Simone. Lovey Simone. It's a
mhm.
really great show on Netflix. If you haven't watched it already, I don't know where you've been at, but you need to get into it. It's already been renewed for a second season, so I'm excited to see where they go. It's
Yeah.
inspired by a Judy Blume book, but I thought it was so great. It really put me in mind of like some other Netflix like YA romance type of shows or movies, specifically To All the Boys I Loved Before. I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Like,
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
but it was so good and it was very cute. Um, and then the only other thing that I've watched is I watched the final season of You.
Oh, yeah. We never made it to Paris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
The
we're behind.
Paris season is the tone of it is difficult to get through, so I understand that.
Okay. Yeah, we never did honestly even started. But I know that was kind of like I just started first, and then I kind of got pulled in halfway through the first season, and then we just watched it together ever since then. But that's been something that we every time we try to figure out something completely forgot, and it's I think it is kind of one of those things, at least for us, that happens sometimes. It's like when a show takes a little while to come back, unless it's like extremely good.
Hmm.
It's kind of hard to kind of get back into because we're also behind on Squid Games too. So yeah.
And then the last thing I've watched is Traders, the UK version, because I've already
Okay.
seen the US version. And I kind of felt like I needed like to watch some type of reality show. And I was like, let
Mhm.
me check this out. And I'll
Yeah.
say this, if you've watched the Traders version, UK version is for the gamers. Like if you like gameplay, watch the
Okay.
UK version because those people day one are thinking about the game. The traders are like they think about their kills strategically.
Uh.
They think about everything strategically. And so if you like gameplay, watch the UK version. Now
Mm.
they're gonna be a little annoying, but it's like annoying in the sense of like, oh no, don't come for the person that I was enjoying, you know,
Oh.
and
Okay.
they're annoying in that sense. But I recommend it if you enjoy traders as a whole, but also
Mhm.
like if you really like gameplay, check it out.
Cool. That's dope. That's dope. Well, yeah. I was telling Blaze that we also started Traders. Well, got back into it. We watched the first episode, and it was pretty intriguing, but for whatever reason, we just didn't get back into it. And so, while we were kind of in between a lot of movies and stuff like that, and the podcast, we decided to go ahead and check out Traders. And so we definitely have been enjoying it so far. I don't know how many more episodes we got, but we got pretty far in the first season. I think there is going to be kind of like our go-to, and definitely from your recommendation, like we're definitely going to jump on the UK version as well. As far as like narrative things, I finally checked out the United States versus Billie Holiday. And that is one of the best biopics I've ever seen,
Oh
to be
wow.
quite honest. One of the best biopics I ever seen. I also watched a documentary on Max, Love to Love. Donna Summers is basically about the life of Donna Summers. Once again, just one of those projects that just really surprised me. All these different songs that I've heard passively growing up, not necessarily because it was during my time, but in different films and moments and all this stuff like that. Never knew who was the woman behind the music, so it was enjoyable to see this. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that one of her daughters, I believe, was the producer or director of this. I may be wrong, but I think she was involved in it in some type of way. Late to the party, but we finally watched Rebel Ridge during this during this
Oh,
time.
finally.
Yes, we finally watched it. It actually was good. Like it was a
Hmm.
really good TV film. I feel like it probably could have
Hmm.
did well in theaters too, ish, depending on what the marketing was like. But I will say that it was actually a really solid um TV well coming off as a TV movie,
Dream.
which is a
Yeah.
really good movie.
Yeah.
So definitely if you haven't watched it and you've been like me, just kind of late to the ball game, I definitely recommend that you check
Okay.
that out. Check it out, check it out. Finally watched Mufasa as well. What of my
Yeah. Yeah.
brother?
That's
Oh my gosh, here
I
you
mean, you
go.
set yourself up. You talked about Rebel Ridge and then
Oh,
you
that was back to
five.
back.
Mm-hmm.
It was back to back. So, but yeah, Mufasa was good. I honestly enjoyed this more than the first live action Lion King. I also like that Kiara, who is Simba's daughter, was introduced at the beginning. So I will say, even though I know some people are kind of tired of the live action films, I do hope that they possibly entertain producing a Lion King 2, I guess that would be, which it was in animation, which to me, in my personal opinion, it was it was I almost think that I like Lion King 2 more than one. I'm gonna have to watch them back to back again.
You didn't say that before. I need to watch them back too because I'm like, wait, what?
For real. I mean, some people said they like the soundtrack as far as the music in
Mm.
Lion King 2 better than one.
I don't
And
even
so
remember what happened in Lion King 2.
Lion King 2 was basically about Kiara, which is Simba's daughter. She's
Yep.
growing up.
Don't remember that one at all.
Don't remember that. And basically she ends up meeting Kovu, who is seemingly comes off as Scar's descendant without them actually saying it. But I'm pretty sure that's how that was going on. That
Okay,
was
that sounds vaguely familiar.
yeah, and so yeah, so she ends up meeting him, and then it's like, and the thing that I love about it, it's like you're learning another, which now is going to be very interesting how they really, well, no, they still work. Well, yeah, how they really word that, like fill in the gaps or whatever. Now that we know the full background of Scar or Taka or whatever like that, and so I'm definitely interested to see if they were to do a Lion King 2, how would they fill in the gaps with Scar from Mufasa, but then also carry it on. Because the thing I like about it is lines versus lines, and it's a kind of deeper thing of them trying to fight out their differences. So I like it.
Mhm.
I think action wise, it would be really great in theaters. It's something I would like to see. So, um, but yeah, highly recommend if you've never seen Lion King 2 or if you forgot. So, another film that I watched and I actually really enjoyed was Goodfellas. Back into my mobster era, and so checked out Goodfellas. That was pretty good. Finally watched Eve's Bayou.
About time.
Yeah, definitely late to the game on that one. And so definitely recommend if you want to see just the early days of Samuel L. Jackson and gosh, what's
Journey
that?
Smollett,
Journey, yeah, Journey Smollett and
Megan
so
Good,
Gabrielle, yeah, Gabrielle Union, not Gabrielle Union,
Megan Good,
Megan
Megan Good.
Good. Megan Good, and so many others. I
Mhm.
really love watching projects where
Mhm.
yeah, it's a whole bunch. Like I can't remember the mom's name right now, but she's been in a lot of projects as well. And so I highly recommend that. It's always fun to watch older projects where you see people and it's just like, dang, they literally have been in the game for a very long time. So
I don't think I ever told you, but that's actually one of my favorite movies.
really, I did
Hmm.
not know that. Okay, cool, 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 cool. So well, yeah, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Watch
The
Cool High. Oh, go
before you
ahead.
go to the next one, the
Yeah.
scene where like they can't she's not letting them leave the house and stuff. And she
Yeah.
comes downstairs and she starts talking about like all the Shakespeare plays. Me and my brothers, we would literally quote that part all the time. Like, we done with the tragedies, now we on to the comedies. Cicely, get out the tub. Or like even the part where Cicely goes for the walk and then she comes back and she's like, and I made it, mama. And then she
Oh,
slaps her. Like we always quoting that movie. So like that
oh
is legit one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. So yeah, yeah, it's actually pretty dang cool. It has some light moments. It has some more unique moments. So I definitely recommend if it's always been on your watch list, especially during all the streaming nowadays. I definitely tell you to check it out. Cooley High is another project I highly recommend. It is from the early days of when, if you ever seen Jackson 5 and American Dream, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, who
Hmm.
plays the father in that, he is one of the main characters along with Glenn Turman, who recently, some of you may remember in Paradise. I'm forgetting Sterling Kings Brown's actual character name, but the one who plays his father
Xavier.
in that, you he's been in that and so many other things. He actually just recently was announced that his name is about to get put down in the Hall of Fame. So many. Gary Morris is in that as well. Who he's in a Jamie Foxx show and so many other things. So definitely kind of a stat cast early on, and, seeing them so young and playing high schoolers is pretty cool. It came out in
Oh wow.
'75. So
Woo.
so yeah, it's been a while. It has been a while. So another film that's a little bit on the season side I watch is a documentary called Gospel According to Al Green. Just kind of curious. I like Al Green's music and stuff like that, and so I was curious about what an older documentary kind of looked like, especially from seeing docs like When We Were Kings, which is dang near one of my all-time favorites at this point. And so it's pretty cool. If you like Al Green or you're curious about, things early on and just how documentaries kind of done back in that time, I definitely recommend it. Some really cool, seemingly archive footage, but technically it's kind of not because it's as is in that moment because it came out in '84. So yeah.
Oh.
Hoop Dreams, dang, these all kind of seasoned. Hoop Dreams,
Mhm.
I didn't get to meet him, but I actually was at a ceremony where they honored the director of Hoop Dreams last year at the Hot Springs Documentary Film Festival. And so I had heard of the phrase Hoop Dreams, but I've never just looked deep into it. Nobody recommended. So after I saw a little bit of his work and that ended up being one of them, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. Now I'm gonna let y'all know it's right at, if not close to 3 hours.
Oh,
But it
what?
actually that it's a dedication, Blaze. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, it sounds like it.
But I'm not gonna lie, it's one of those things where you can loosely watch it and still know what's going on
Hmm.
because the style of it, the director narrates it too. So say if you're looking away,
Okay.
like say if it's like a Saturday morning and you just turned it on, you got time to pass, you can
Hmm.
turn that on and say if you're looking away, you look on your phone, but you're still engaged through your ear, whatever the case may be, you can still know what's going on. But I respect the length of this because it actually follows two students from pretty much early high school between freshman and sophomore year all the way to graduating out of high school.
Oh,
And
that's
so
cool.
so yeah, so it was definitely a dedicated type of approach to the project. Watched Emergency. It's kind of like a mostly a comedy, I will say. That's on Amazon on
Mhm.
Amazon Prime.
Oh, I
And,
watched that before.
oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's something that's been on my watch list for a while. Just never did circle back to it. If you got some friends over, you want to watch something that's a little bit lighter, but not like light comedy, is definitely not for children. But not
No.
raunchy. But
Please don't.
yeah. I mean, I'll say it's almost like a Adam Sandler's film, pretty much to a certain degree, but not,
I can do that.
but a little bit more on the language side, I guess you could say. So, but yeah, Emergency is really good. And so I highly recommend that. We also watched Forever, but definitely watched it way later than Blaze did. But we finally watched that, really enjoyed it, loved the themes of it. The
Hmm.
mom in the show was my favorite character.
Yes, mine too.
Oh man, and
I
I
mean,
did find out.
I love both of the parents, the mom and the dad.
Oh,
Like their
yeah,
relationship. I liked how they talked to the son, how they
yeah,
even approached Keisha. Like
yes,
that was a nice little family, like a nice way to show a black family that's different
yes.
from maybe stereotypical ways.
Most definitely, most definitely. And so I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the second season. For those of you who have seen it, I will say without saying too much, am interested to see what a season two will look like and if they
Hmm.
will be continuing with this same couple, how will they still be able to keep that same kind of magic? Because um I do feel like the high school setting really was a character within itself as well.
I do
And
too.
so I'm interested to see what this next step would be. And I feel like the year that they did it was interesting. They specifically it's like a prior year
Hmm.
to this. So I am interested to see where that all goes to. So yeah, highly recommend that. And then lastly, I finally got into The Sopranos. Our upcoming new co-host, with us recommended The Sopranos, especially after seeing me get into, The Godfathers, Goodfellas, and watching the docu-series on Netflix. I will say this, y'all. I just finished the first season and I completely understand why The Sopranos is one of the top rated films of all time. I mean, top rated shows of all time. It is
Wow, just from the first season?
just from the first season. Just from the first season, because I would just say it's really great writing where and acting too, how you're able to tell the story about the setting and just the nature of what it's about, the content that's about, and there's still light comedy to where I actually can laugh at them when they're not even trying to be funny, but I know that they want that out of us. But they do an amazing job.
How
Or did
many
an amazing job.
episodes is the first season?
The first season is 13 episodes.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
I don't
13.
know that how are the episodes an hour or 30 minutes?
Close to an hour. Nothing I think goes over 50. And then because I
Okay.
think there's been times where it's even 40. So, but nothing goes over like 50 or 50 some minutes from what
Gotcha.
I remember.
Okay.
If it was anything longer, it may have been the last episode.
Hmm.
But yeah, the pacing is really good. I think the only thing that's kind of maybe a little bit harder in the beginning is keeping up with names and who is who. Um,
I
but
mean,
other
Corgan, you watched Game of Thrones. You'll be okay.
yeah, man, I still don't know folks' names in that.
Still don't, because you got Tyron, Tyrion, Tyrion. Like who decided to name all these people the same name, basically?
Oh man, wow. But one show that doesn't have that many characters to keep up with and actors who did an awesome job was Ironheart, and that's what we about to get into next, y'all. Ironheart again, for those of you who are kind of you just checking it out, well, you just listening, you haven't watched Ironheart yet, and you want to kind of get our take with it. Of course, it's going to be spoilers, but I will say that overall, like the presentation of the show, the cinematography, the acting especially was really, really good. Pretty much this is way after Tony Stark has passed away, but it's almost kind of like a semi sequel to the presentation of Riri Williams after being introduced in Black Panther 2. And so if you haven't watched Black Panther 2 yet, I would recommend that you watch that first before watching the show. Or if not, definitely go back and watch Black Panther 2 to kind of get an idea of everything, because I do feel like they did a great job of introducing her in that film to where I was ready to learn more about this character. Um
I'm gonna be honest with you, Courtney. And you know I watched Black Panther too, because we talked about it. I don't remember her in Black Panther too.
yes, you do.
No, I remember her now that I've watched Ironheart. Like I remember it, but like as I was watching it, I was like, I know she's been in
Yeah,
something, but
and
like,
it didn't hit
what
you.
was it? And then
Really?
I, yeah, and then like as I kept watching, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure it was Black Panther too. Pretty sure. And then she said, she mentioned something like a episode six or some, maybe not episode six because that was the final episode. So maybe like episode three. I was like, oh yep, it was definitely Black Panther.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, her Sherry um founder and at MIT to help
Hmm.
them with their tech. So yeah, so basically she was one of the recipients of the Tony Stark scholarship that basically made their tuition free. And so
Hmm.
this is not a character coming out of left field or nothing like that. It's just a character that just hasn't been introduced yet, but she has been now. And so yeah, so let's get into it. So overall, like we start off with her at the college
Hmm.
and she's into her stuff. Well, before we even get to her and her suit, we find out that her inner workings, the way she go about doing things, and the hustle mentality gets her in a little bit of trouble. And
Hmm.
so, and so soon after that, which I ain't gonna lie, Blaze, when they said what they call her doing, I said, yeah, in a regular setting, she probably end up being close to getting expelled, but we gonna see what they gonna do. And sure enough, they was like, "Yeah, you gotta go," and I was like, "Dang."
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they gave her plenty of warning, so I wasn't surprised she got expelled. I was like, dang, y'all let her go on that long?
Yeah, I was like, dang, sis, you really been out here doing just whatever you want to
Mhm.
do. Okay, okay.
And very
And so yeah,
unapologetic about it.
yeah, yeah, like they do like it's a I really she comes off as a brat to a certain
Definitely.
degree. But a very educated, cool, semi self-aware brat. And
But I
that,
don't understand how she got there because when we are
yeah.
introduced to her mother, that just does not seem like how her mother would have raised her, based off of what we see from her mom.
Well, that as they say in parenting from what I heard, you can do all you can, but at the end of the day, it's their choice of what they want to do.
I mean,
You,
that's true. That's true. If her mama knew how she was acting though.
yeah, and you know
And
what?
how old
Throughout
you
the
are,
show,
you finna get popped.
look, and I honestly feel like she kept on. I don't feel like her mom still fully understands what she be out like. I feel like a
Mhm.
perfect example, honestly, is her working for Parker and them,
Mhm.
and she not knowing. I just feel like she's just been able to be intelligent enough to always be one up on her mom to where her mom doesn't know what's
Yes.
going on.
Now that I can see because I've seen that in life of like a really smart kid being able to do whatever they want to because the parents don't understand and they just like, oh, they smart. You know, they
They getting good
couldn't
grades.
right. They getting a good grade. They couldn't be getting into nothing bad. They wouldn't do that. They ain't got time for that. No, she does. She does.
Yeah, most definitely, man. It's a really trippy trip. What was your how was your first impressions of, I guess in a sense getting reintroduced to Riri, but seeing her from a different point of view of just in this big world of Wakanda to now we kind of in her world and what she got going on. What was your take on it?
I was excited to see like what this Marvel world was gonna be in
Hmm.
Chicago because
Hmm.
most Marvel shows I think, take place in like New York or LA. I can't remember where Miss Marvel takes place. I want to say it's like in California, but it was
Hmm.
just nice to be in a place that has a very big black population and
Hmm.
actually show like several different types of black people, but also still showing other races and ethnicities where I think a lot of other shows that take place in Chicago, they don't do that. I'm like, Chicago is like one of the most diverse places in the country. And,
Hmm.
a lot of shows don't take advantage of that. So I was happy to see this show do that while
Yeah.
still having like a pretty predominantly black cast.
Right. True, true, true. I ain't gonna lie, Blaze, a couple times I'm like, is cousin about to pop out? Cause like are we gonna be going to
Right.
the restaurant soon? Yeah, so that came to mind a couple of times. But yeah, I definitely agree. I really like the approach that they gave, like you said, the diversity of blackness in this show was really dope. Even when it came to, I'm forgetting her name right now, but she was one of the main characters in A Different World.
Summer.
Who Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And so she and her daughter being introduced later on, and even Natalie's brother as well and stuff like that. I really just, like you said, enjoy the diversity in giving the experience of being in Black communities and seeing what that actually looked like. Now I will say one thing. Well, I'll come back. Well, I'll say that now. One thing that I did find interesting, I was very surprised that the college folks never did pop up or anything like that as far as trying to come after the suit at
Right.
all.
Yeah, they
I
just
really
shut it
expect,
off.
yeah, yeah,
But I
I
know
really,
where she lived.
right, right. I just really, because I mean, I know it's a college, but at the same time, technically, she stole, I think that's the appropriate word to say.
I
She
mean,
stole.
I don't think it's a technically. I think she did. If you got to
Okay,
tie into it with your student ID, that means it's the
true.
school's property.
True, 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 true. So yeah, I mean, it was stole, very high tech stuff, and she was just able to get away with it, which kind of goes into like the introduction. I really love um the running titles for each one, like looking to see where the
Same.
titles are going to be.
I
So I
did like
really
that.
enjoyed that as well. That was very creative on like the set design and stuff. So um now, we're moving forward and everything like that, and we're getting a great setting. Like we said, we really enjoyed like the Chicago atmosphere and everything. What was your expectations of how you thought Parker was going to be, aka Hood, versus what we started to get when we were introduced to him?
So I wasn't familiar with like the hood or like anything about what his character was supposed to be.
Hmm.
I'm familiar with the actor that played Parker, Anthony Ramos, and so I was
Yeah.
interested to see like what he was going to bring to whatever it was about to be. And like
Hmm.
when we were introduced to him, I was like, okay, it's clear he's going to be the bad guy. But like, how are we going to get from point A to point B in 6 episodes? That's kind of
Gotcha.
what I was thinking, especially
Gotcha.
since, at first he had his cousin, John, shout out to John, who kind of kept him in control, but also, and we don't find this out until like much later in the season of like how he was able to I guess you could say like command a room, like how he had this group of people willing
Hmm.
to listen to him and follow him, and who were also like slightly scared of him because they
Yeah.
kind of didn't know what he was capable of or what he would do. I was interested to kind of find those things out because what do you mean? I don't care if you help me out. I'm not gonna start doing illegal stuff for you, dude. Like, I don't know about all of this.
Yeah, yeah, that was very interesting. I mean, it was quick and to the point. I liked how they broke it down, how they found them and
Hmm.
everything. And it's a very unique group of I guess criminals, so to speak, that was a part of his group. I will say it was a very unique take. I felt that they feared the hood as in his
Hmm.
cape more than him,
Yeah.
technically, because the way they told the story, it came out more so. It seems like I don't know if it was intentional or not, but they really want to make him way more grounded than I feel like we've received of any other character, as in he's dang near not too much different from the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
um like if it wasn't for him with the hood, I could easily see where John is the guy and everybody follow under him. And
Yes, I'm happy you said that because
yeah,
I was like, why isn't John in charge?
yeah.
Like, I mean, like if we were thinking about age, John is older. He's older than him. So it's like,
Mhm.
why isn't John the person that they listen to? He also came off as like the muscle at some points. So I'm like,
Yes.
why does everybody choose to listen to Parker? And I mean, over the course of the season, you kind of understand, like you said, the hood, they were kind of afraid of that. But then also he had the vision. And
Yeah.
John was just there to carry out the vision.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely, a unique dynamic between he and John that seemed to work,
Hmm.
and it was very unique to see how much Parker really found comfort in the leadership and the care that he received from John. That
Hmm.
was very unique, which of course we see later on that they have been working together and doing things for a very long time. But
Hmm.
even in that sense, it almost seemed like when they was robbing, what we end up finding out or trying to rob his dad's house is that he all John almost seemed like the leader in itself,
Hmm.
in that moment, which I think he kind of
Before the Cape.
yeah, before the cake. And like I said, that was like, man, it's very interesting. And I do feel like because at first I was like, I wonder is it gonna be one of those things where it's John gonna step out of line one day and Parker's gonna have to check him, but it was never that. It almost seemed like no matter how stern John got, and even when they was together by themselves, I feel like there was an order. I feel like, yeah, they feared
Hmm.
the hood and they respected the vision, but then at the same time, I feel like Parker really respected John and
Hmm.
whatever John probably encouraged him to do or wanted him to do at times, he heavily considered it or he looked at him like an older brother that he was trying to make proud.
Yeah.
Stuff. So yeah, that dynamic between them was very unique. Again, even when it comes to the crew, I do like the diversity in the way they kind of work together to make things work. I will say that I wish we could have learned a little bit more about Rampage instead of him just being gone and then end up being dead. I don't know if that was like an order thing, but I did find it very interesting that John took it upon himself to still kill him off. And I'm not even gonna lie. I honestly probably wouldn't mind watching that.
Hmm.
Uh, Now let's kind of fast forward a little bit and move to the um the dynamic of um the great AI that Riri
Okay.
creates. And so I definitely was not expecting that, and it's been so long since we've, seen Iron Man and everything like that that I forget about the dynamic of not only the suit, but it's the suit, the AI, and the pilot, which has been Tony Stark. And
Hmm.
so I really was caught off guard with it being her best friend,
Yeah.
uh,
Who
being
passed
made
away?
as an AI. Yeah. But how did you feel about it when she first came up? Did you feel like, oh, like this is a very unique the way this came out? But like, how did you feel about her popping up and how did you feel about their dynamic overall?
That was actually like my favorite thing about the series is them using her best friend as the AI and the corporation of it. How, I mean, her friend died like 5 years ago, but she hadn't
Right.
completely processed that
That.
death because she did witness her friend die as well as her stepfather die. And so I thought that that was a neat way for her to kind of try and start grieving
Mhm.
without like completely giving something up, almost like to commemorate her friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then also seeing the intelligence of the AI to use Riri's her memories and her thoughts and to like not just use them but like to analyze them for the emotional effects that they have not just for Reed but what they should have for Natalie if she were here in
Hmm.
trying to really become Natalie, so to
Yeah.
speak. I thought that that was really cool and also pretty timely considering how big AI is becoming.
True. True. True.
um I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely do too. I mean, at some point, especially between mid second episode and the third episode, I mean, she dang it was trying almost taking the show, at times because like her personality and them
Oh
bouncing things.
yeah.
was so well done. And I just love the concept of how she could bounce around from the suit to the computer, everything like that, and
Hmm.
them kind of realigning with one another. And I like how it wasn't just the instant like, oh my gosh, I'm glad you're back, but accepting the fact that no, you're in a like you're a conception of my thoughts, and
You're not real.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not real, you're not her. And so I
Hmm.
really did like that approach. And I feel like it kind of showed like where Riri's maturity level was when it comes to her grieving, like, yeah, I miss her and everything like that, but I will not allow AI or anything else to make me to take away the maturity of me processing the fact that my best friend is gone. And stuff
False,
like
like, yeah, like a false satisfaction of this. Like, no,
yeah.
it's not real.
Yeah. And so I really love the maturity level that was included in that for Riri to handle. One of the biggest things that was kind of coming to mind during this show, and I think it was after the first episode because we didn't watch it the other two back to back. We watched the first one, then watched the other two after.
Hmm.
I kid you not, I was kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, I think I'm liking the show. I like how they're taking their time with it instead of like other shows. I feel like sometimes it starts so high because Miss Marvel was super high level and stuff like that, and then it kind of calmed down a little bit to put in information. But I
Hmm.
like how it's taking its time to gradually grow. I said, but the only thing, man, if you're gonna be in this setting and have these type of people working with each other like criminals and stuff like that, they gotta cuss a little bit. That's what I was kind of thinking. And lo and behold, from episode two on out, they was letting it rip. Not too much to where it's just like, okay, like y'all being extra, but it seemed natural and I feel like it made the show more grounded. And it's kind of like what I told somebody, the approach to this is almost kind of like I feel like the approach to a certain degree of Sinners, where Sinners is a movie that had vampires in it, and this is also kind of like one of those things to where this is a show about a college student that got expelled
Hmm.
and there just happen to be great heists and high tech and a little bit of magic
Hmm.
that's surrounding this story that's in the story. And so I will say I do appreciate it being so grounded. I will say for me that with it being so grounded and Parker being associated with that groundedness, it took away whenever I'm thinking about the villain of the big bad, I expect for them to be in some type of way mysterious or want to or even more so just what's the word I want to say almost more of a sinister approach, but it definitely he
Hmm.
came off as more as like a troubled man that's really money hungry
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah.
Um, to comment on that, and even something you said a little bit earlier, because I
Mhm,
kind of disagree about, I guess, like the pacing,
mhm,
because for it to kind of go like a little slower than maybe like Miss Marvel, I didn't feel like I got all the information that I needed to get, because I was like after the first three episodes trying to figure out, so why are we doing these heists? Or what are,
right,
like, yeah, we want to get money, but like you just did this really big one and got a lot of money. So like why do you need to go and do another one
right,
immediately
right,
afterwards? Like I
right,
was confusing. So like yeah, we can chop that up to he was money hungry, but like knowing what we know about like his father and the money his father had and stuff, like okay, that makes sense. But I don't feel like that was like little Easter eggs were not dropped early on for us to get there, if that makes sense.
right. And let me ask you this: do you feel like you would have wanted a reason for the heist if he was more mysterious and just really like a dark person? Like, because
No.
okay, and that's why I feel like when a villain is a villain and presented in that way, and not like because most of the time because like even with Thanos, even though the other people that was with Thanos was very powerful, especially like their psychic alien.
Mm-hmm.
There was a distinct thing. Thanos is over here and they over there.
Mm-hmm.
And if Thanos say that's what he want to do without giving a reason, then
Mm-hmm.
that's just what you're gonna roll with. And so and I think that's what it kind of goes on with the, I'm gonna say this. I feel that the show may have would have came off a little bit more unique or different if the information of them first breaking into a house and not knowing whose house it was, if that would have been the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
And because we already know by promo that we know Anthony Ramos is going to be or is supposed to be the big bad in
Mm-hmm.
this. Of course, there could be surprises and everything like that, which we'll get into. But we know he's going to be the big bad anyway. We know he's going to be doing magic. And I didn't watch too many more trailers after the first one. So that part was already shown. So if we already know this, I don't mind you kicking it off where we're seeing him and John breaking into this house and we're just thinking it's anybody's house. And that happens, and then the next thing you know, once he goes into this door and talking to Mephistos, as we find out it was, then we move on and um, we move on and we go, or you don't even show his face, you just have him accept the hood in some type of way, and
Mm-hmm.
then we cut to Riri getting expelled. I think
Right.
that could be cool.
I think that would have been cool too, and probably a little bit more effective because when people go into seeing a show that's quote unquote a superhero show, they
Yeah,
want to know who's the hero, who's the bad guy. They
right.
don't necessarily need to know the the specifics of the bad guys like mission, but we know what their end goal is. And so if Parker was a little bit more mysterious and came off a little more sinister, then all these heists that he was doing would have had a bigger impact or
Yeah.
effect because we would have been like, okay, what is this leading up to? As
Mhm.
opposed to what we got, which was like, okay, y'all did a heist, y'all got money, so y'all good now. Oh no, y'all doing another one? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Like why? And not only did they go and do another one, but they did one where they didn't have all the information they needed. It was arguably more dangerous, which we know how it ended. So it's
Yes.
like, so I was confused. Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
It just felt like a plot device, which is fine if done well. And I'm not saying it wasn't done well, it just wasn't done great.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely get how it's kind of like, and maybe on the writing side, it's like we want you to feel like why are we doing this again? So you more so identify with Riri, but I do feel like we don't want Riri there in the first place because she
Exactly.
is
I
our
was like, I don't
hero.
care. Because why is
Yeah.
she there?
Yeah.
She
We
got
don't
what
want her there.
she did a job. She got her some money. So why would she still need to be here? Parker
Right.
Parker did not essentially he didn't like force her to do that other mission. And I know
Exactly.
that like part of her doing that other mission was so that she could get a part of his suit. But why does she want a part of his suit so bad?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You just met this dude. Like, if he's sketchy, leave him alone. No, seriously, if he's sketchy, leave him
Yeah.
alone. Like, you got a suit that like barely works well. And you know that
Bear.
this guy is powerful with this hood. I'ma just bow out gracefully and be like, thank y'all so much for this opportunity, but I'm good and I never want to see y'all again.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
if I see you again and you're causing trouble where it's like, okay, he's a problem to all of Chicago, all of the country, all of the world. Now I'm thinking, okay, I need to do something. But like for her to be immediately like, I need to find out more information about this hood. No, you don't. You need to mind your business.
Ah,
You need to mind your business.
you need to sit down somewhere.
You need to sit down somewhere because because when you think about it, the end, who did he serve a threat to? Like, did he really serve a threat to the world?
No. No,
So why do we need to get a piece of the suit so bad or the hood so bad and figure out information about it?
I think for Riri's character, she wanted to do her due diligence. I think it's kind of one of those things of like her growing as a young woman at where she was from college or whatever, in the sense of she wants to do good, but then also she don't want to be financially struggling. It's still that piece in there. But then
I mean,
also because of this knowledge in this suit and the previous experience with Shuri and the Wakanda Kingdom, I feel like she needs to make sure she's doing what she needs to do to be a hero and be what Tony Stark is not able to be anymore. Because again, we're in a time now that there isn't any Avengers or those that be or getting recruited. They're not all together and organized yet. So
Mhm.
so
So,
yeah.
so to go based off of what you said about her experience with Shuri, why she didn't learn from that experience to mind her business? Because if homegirl had mind her business, I'm just saying, Mama would still be alive. Let's be real.
You went there.
I
Uh,
did go there. I
uh,
did. But also, I was gonna say too that, like, I get she's growing as a person and she's trying to be a hero, but also, episode one, she's at MIT and she talks about how she wants to build this suit so that she can so that there are like quick EMTs there. So she doesn't
yeah,
have to experience what she's experienced with Natalie and Gary.
yeah,
And then in the season finale, Parker, when they are about to fight, he's like, look at you, you got this fancy suit now. You using magic with the suit. I thought you wanted to save people. So like why look,
yeah,
so it goes back to my question, like why she cares so much. He's impacting you because you have in mind your business. If you would have left him alone, then none of this would have happened to you. You wouldn't have had to worry about your life and safety or your family's life and safety.
yeah.
Everything that happened to her was self-inflicted, Corgan.
I
Everything.
see that. I didn't think about that in that way, but no, I mean, that's true. That's true. But and I feel that I'm fine with that just because her immaturity level is extremely high. As
Right.
much
I
as
don't
her,
even know. I need an age. Like I know she was in MIT. I know she graduated um college
her
and all of that early, and I think that that could be a big part of it because I think back to Smart Guy where he here this little kid is in high
mhm.
school and he act like a little kid. Like he's smart, but
Yeah,
he doesn't have the maturity level. So I'm like, how old is Riri?
I think they was trying to age her around 1921. I mean, between 19 to 21 years old.
I need her to be 19 because she just made too many stupid decisions for me to believe she was 21. Like I ain't saying 21 people got it together. I was 21,
Yeah,
but I don't think I was like making that many dumb mistakes over and over and over, like in a
yeah.
2 week span.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, I definitely get that. And so we're talking about, the plots and everything like that. Um, how did you like the whole including Ezekiel staying in the series, or were you kind of lost on that one at first?
No, I like the inclusion of it because it was kind of like, the past gonna repeat itself, that type of thing. So I
Yeah.
like that inclusion. I just got mad when she screwed him over.
Yeah. I will say out of the whole entire series, episode 3 was my favorite episode.
I agree.
It was so dynamic. I appreciate, as morbid as this sounds, I appreciate somebody getting seriously hurt or
Hmm.
you know what.
Hmm.
And because
Pouring
I
from her mouth
again,
for a mouth.
right, because if y'all gonna be this big bad folks, y'all in Chicago, y'all in the city, like I need this to feel real, and I feel like they did a leading from 1 to 3 to me. I'm like, oh, this is a great setup, a really
Hmm.
great setup, and I really love the dynamic between Ezekiel and Riri. Now I will
I
step
do
to the
too.
I will, well, let me fast forward a little bit. So, because you spoke about him getting done like he was done. With this hair shade, I kept on saying for the longest, he remind me of somebody. It finally hit me. What's the guy's name that's on How to Get Away with Murder that was kind
Connor,
of like, huh?
Connor or
Was
Frank?
Frank. That's who he reminded me of, like a younger Frank. If you go back
Ah,
and look, because I was like, man, like his mannerisms, how he's acting, especially now with the
oh
haircut, like he
wow.
reminded me of someone. And it just hit me. It's Frank.
I can
Um,
see it.
yeah, so but that so did you tell me this? Were they insinuating that Ezekiel had just built this machine for them, or did they already have this machine and he was getting turned into this thing? Because I think I don't know if I looked down my phone. That's something that I was a little caught off guard by when it came to changing him basically to a robot.
Yeah, no, that caught me off guard too. But from what I remember, I want to say it was something he was already working on, but
Okay.
he hadn't. I thought he hadn't perfected it.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking. So when I saw him getting into it, I was like, wait a minute, because what you test this on? You got to test it on yourself? You that mad? I mean, actually, dog, that's fair. She put you in prison. She ruined your life. Yeah. But yeah, it makes sense to be that mad
I
that you
want to
like, I'm
be
gonna just test it
man.
on myself. Because what's the worst that can happen to me now?
Well, I guess the weirdest thing is just like it's like a mix of okay, you did it to yourself, or did you let them talk you into doing it to yourself? Because the other thing that was kind of confusing to me, but now it technically makes more sense, and I have to look back because one part of the machine changed the name to Parker, and now it kind of makes
Yeah.
more sense because I guess it was setting him his core to make sure he's always protecting Parker.
Uh-huh. Yeah, when they were doing the code, I was like, I kept on saying that back, like, wait, why did they put Parker's name in there? I was like, what are y'all doing with the robot thing? What's going on? Why would they need to put Parker's name? And so when Parker came back and was like, yeah, you're supposed to be protecting me, and that's all you're gonna do. I was like, oh, got it. That was smart.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, I liked that kind of elevated Parker's character
Yes.
for me, like, oh, you thought you was about to do something to me, like, come on. Like, so I really like that. And Alden, who plays Ezekiel, he just did a really great job. Like, I
He did.
really did like his character.
Mhm.
Um, and definitely unique. The other thing, I was
So many
really thrown.
questions though about a person becoming a robot. Like, do you still go to the
Yeah,
bathroom? Do you still eat food? How do you take a shower? Like,
yeah, like it was very quick. It was just like I'm gonna turn myself into a human Jarvis real quick.
yeah.
That throws out lightning. You know what I'm saying? Like that was very unique. That was very unique for me too.
Do you have to
Um,
charge yourself?
yeah, it's
So
a
many
lot.
logistical questions.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So we're gonna fast forward a little bit for the sake of time, and um, so there was a quick fight between Riri and Parker.
Hmm.
Parker turns up. I almost remember the name again, but he Morbius. That's what I was trying to remember. Parker gets his Morbius vibes on and just goes straight creature. And they fight for a little bit and everything. And she steals the cape and goes back upstairs into the restaurant. And we learn that Mephisto is the one behind all of this. and basically offers her a deal. Now,
Mm-hmm.
Blaze,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be real with you.
I'm gonna be real with you too.
The last thing I thought was gonna happen is not seeing everything through as far as the real official decision that she makes, which I did not think she was gonna say yeah, but that's what it's implying.
Mm-hmm.
And also get cut off because based on all the announcements of what's to come and how much unfair hate was initially put on Ironheart, I
Mm-hmm.
don't see this getting a season two. But if it does, then cool. I'm all in for it because there's a lot to unravel. Um, but yeah, what were your thoughts when it came to you seemingly seeing that she was saying yes, and you see the marking on her arm as she's hugging not the acronym Natalie, but the reincarnated Natalie in some sense, after he said that people that's been dead is actually tricky.
Right. Let's talk about it. I was mad because I was like, wait, what? You just you like let's go back to before the second heist. You put yourself, your family through all of this stuff because you and Natalie, the AI, decided we need to know more information about Parker. We need to know more information about this hood because he's losing his mind with it. To then go and accept the same deal that Parker did after you just fought him to get him away from this hood so that whatever he was planning, he does not continue. Like, girl, and this is why I said I need to know how old she is because that's a dumb decision. It don't make sense. This is also the same person who didn't even want the AI originally.
No.
So why would she even put that out in the universe that she wanted her back to life? And that's also extremely selfish because not
Yeah.
only did you lose her that night, you lost your stepfather, your mom lost her husband.
Yes.
In addition to that, your friend, her brother, he has made peace with his sister's passing. And he didn't even want the AI. So what makes you think 5 years later he wants her to be brought back to life because of some magical stuff that you don't even know the consequence? And he said the same thing that he said to Parker. She asked him, what's the deal? It's nothing that you're gonna miss. If it's in your life, it's gonna be something you miss.
And two things I realized. Number one, her hair changed.
Yes.
Well, actually, three. Number two, we saw some of these same symbols that were surrounding the suit early on was there.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, did you realize she was the only one in the garage? The family wasn't there.
Oh yeah, I did not notice that.
So it's like, is that also insinuating that in the fact that yes, she got Natalie, but she lost everybody else some type of way
Mm.
in whatever universe or mirage or
I don't
whatever?
think that. I don't think that. But I
Hmm.
do think that was. I think the reason why I don't know why she was in the garage, maybe to set the suit there, but it made sense for that to be the place that she saw Natalie again because that's the last place Natalie was when she was alive. So for Natalie, it's like that day is still going on.
True.
She's in the same outfit, and so she looking around, like she even says, "Hey, like where's Gary?" Because for her, the last 5 years have not happened. She's still there.
Yeah. And now you're going to have to bring her back to mourn the loss of her actual biological father, too.
Exactly. So like you don't you it makes me think about I don't know if you've ever seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but like Buffy died and they
Mm,
brought her back to life. And at the, I think I want to say it was at the end of the episode that they brought her back to life. Buffy starts crying, and she's like, "I hate that they brought me back because I was in heaven, and I've been doing all these
mm,
bad things, killing all these people for other people, but I didn't think I was gonna make it to heaven, and y'all brought me
mm,
back." So it's like
mm.
it's so selfish of you to want your best friend back because you don't know what peace she found.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just with I feel like we had got over the hump of like she's young, she's learning from she's learning from her mistakes and the consequences of her actions. And I just kind of thought that we were past herself, like you basically was saying, being selfish and not being aware of like what she does, how it impacts others if you truly trying to be a real superhero, which is basically why I'm always team Iron Man over Captain America because
Hey,
he
yeah,
was the only one that was bold enough to be like, "Hey y'all, yeah, we're saving people, but maybe there's a better way to save people. Be
yes.
more strategic, or if anything, we need to make sure that if there is a lot of damage that happens, not only we're part of the solution to rebuild it back up, but we need to be aware of what we've done when we
Hmm.
do this, you know?"
I always love that about Iron Man because he is a human, he built his quote unquote superpower. He got that because he thinks like the normal people who don't have this, as opposed to somebody like Captain America who now has all these powers that those things don't concern you, but they need to. You can't call yourself a hero if they don't.
Right, right. And so yeah, I will say that I was very surprised about Riri seemingly making that choice. And ultimately just that kind of being the cliffhanger. Besides, I mean, I know it's an end credit scene and everything like that, but that only gives so much to a certain degree.
Mhm.
Um, but I will say for me to have heard that this was could have been released last year, and I'm thinking it in the sense that it was already done, or maybe it wasn't.
Oh,
But
really?
but if that were to be true and knowing everything that's being announced, I will say I was very surprised that this is the way they allowed it to end. Cause not trying to count their pockets and all this stuff like that. Maybe they had a limited budget and they couldn't go back, but if that was how it originally supposed to be done, which we know there was other phase 5 or 6, whichever one we in, where it's a lot of cliffhangers that's never been circled back on or whatever. I feel like it would have been nice to cut this out in some type of way and hopefully maybe do a reshoot. Um, just because in my head it's like realistically, do y'all truly plan to do a season two?
I'm
Um,
looking and it says right now, since they made a shift towards multi-television series, they're taking a wait and see approach in
mhm.
regards to if this show is going to get a second season. So it's going to depend on ratings, you know. So we'll have to see.
If there's a season two, I'm rooting for them because every
Yeah.
single actor deserve it. They did an awesome job, and I would love to see the
Great
character
cast.
development. Great cast. I mean, even the crew with Parker and them, like all of
Yeah, I
them
hope
were
if they
enjoyable.
do to come back for a second season, they need to come back too.
But yeah, but other than that, y'all, we really do appreciate you tuning in to another episode. We really appreciate you all supporting us. Like I said, stay tuned for a new host that's going to be coming. The plan is to have this new host on board for the next review, which would be Superman. And so just stay tuned for the next one. And other than that, y'all have a good one. Peace.